side. Go, go, go.
Alright, is this thing on? I do believe it is, or should be at least. Hello, hello, hello. I'm not really sure if anyone's in the chat at the moment, but welcome. Anyone watching this pod, thank you for tuning in to our YouTube channel. Staying alive. Matt Neal and the 200 Aston Martin, Targa, and number 5 Porsche rolling here. Unfortunately, I do not have the liveries installed for this particular event here. Have a skin pack out? Actually, in fact, we do. So I am going to leave the session and join back once we see the first round of laps get completed with adding in the liveries for this event. Yes, after these first couple laps, we will attempt I will attempt to rejoin in order to get the skin pack working, because I clearly did not install it correctly. Something of the sort, and so I just reinstalled it, and we'll see if it works with a rejoin of the server. So we will try that in just a moment. Try to get all the custom liveries for everyone. Alright, server will be undergoing a restart due to a couple of miscommunication in the back end. Someone's in the wrong car, and so we'll be restarting to allow them to the right car, and it'll just restart with qualifying. That kind of works out perfect for me, being that I forgot to. Hello there, Boonatics. Welcome. I'm taking this slight delay that we're having due to miscommunication of start times earlier as a chance to actually wake up and eat something and exist for a minute prior to these races starting. So how are things going for you there, Boonatics? Again, sorry for the confusion earlier. Server should be live now for those of you who are tuned in here. Go ahead and make a ping. Quick. Alright, and we got the liveries installed. Check out this Monster Energy Aston Martin. Obviously, you guys aren't seeing it quite yet on the stream side of things because I'm still get the load. There we go. Had a slight bug out on the game there. Alright, let's head in to this screen here. Hey, this car's on a racetrack. Let's go. 10 minutes left in qualifying. Obviously, laps that were set were deleted, unfortunately, but everyone got back a set of tires, so I say it's a fair trade-off. around this time. Matt Neal sets the first lap time of a 2:05.6, right on par with where he was last time around. Go ahead and see what Peter Varga does here. He's just 6/10 down the board. It's a little bit quicker actually than in the last session, because I do believe that he was about a second off last time around. Next car to hit the line is going to be 327 of Loeffler here. Of course, my broadcast app has the names incorrect, so I had to look back to the game to figure out what name it was. As they go to pole, that's different than last time. Loeffler on top with a 2:05.5. Gonna bench him right on the pole position. Max Liner jumps his way up into fourth there, 1 second back from the leaders. Let's see. Car across line is going to be going back to the Matt Neal Aston Martin. Let's see if he can have any sort of challenge to get himself back onto the pole position. 4 minutes remaining in qualifying here. He does not, as he actually goes slower that time around by 0.2 of a second. Going to keep Loeffler on the money at the moment. As Varga jumps his way up into P2, but not quite up to P1. And here comes big moment there for the 17 Porsche, who was coming to set their first lap. They were looking kind of fast there, but had a massive moment going through the final chicane. Let's see, can Loeffler improve? He does not. Actually ties his time from the looks of it. No, he does go a little bit quicker. Just a couple hundredths of a second faster there. But does improve on the lap. Now we got Bunatix here coming up out of the final corner. He puts himself P5. Dodd jumps up to P5, stealing it back from him. Top 5 of the grid is actually quite compact right here. It's just separated by 0.5 of a second, but the rest of the grid does have a second and a half between 5th and 6th. So really close up front, and then a gap towards the rear. In comes Christian into P6, still well off of the P5 pace right now. We're looking like we're gonna have two groups in this race. Here comes 2 cars up off the final corner here with Keith Hurst and Ramiro Perez. Hurst goes to P6 and Perez goes to P10. We have two cars left to set laps. There's a little bit of a lag there of someone joining the server. The 222 Taylor Swift car making their way in. The Maserati here of Andrew Shaw looking to set its first lap, trying to go fast this time around. 200 car. Matt Neal trying to put his way back up to pole, maybe even just P2. Any improvement? Nope, he's still 1/10 off of his fastest lap, going to remain in the 3rd position. And Peter Varga trying to get his way up to pole. He's been faster each time around so far. Slower that time though, going to remain at P2. Loeffler improve his lap time anymore to give him just a little bit extra cushion? No, as he dives into the pit lane, electing to not take a push at a faster lap. That's going to give Matt Leinart here a shot to possibly jump up from P4. Always good to get that little bit extra practice though for the pit road entry. Never doubt how important that is. Leinart crosses the line, does not improve. And we got a train of cars coming here. 198 in P5. Jumps to the pole. Salman Saad with a mega lap. Gonna put himself in first. With just 30 seconds remaining here in qualifying. And the 46 Porsche jumps their way up into the 4th position now. We got a Porsche 2, 3, and 4. Comes the Maserati looking to set its lap time. It was invalidated, does not count. Here comes Perez to set his one last lap. Time expires on qualifying. He does not improve either. Go ahead and jump back here to the 200 Matt Neal car. See if he can improve at all. Look at this. The top 6 all separate by just 0.2 of a second. As he goes off here, the Aston Martin electing to not set another lap. Possibly invalidated it there on the corner before. Apologize for the mic boom there. Kind of fell over a little bit. Oh, and it looks like the session just ended while people were in the middle of their lap. Something of sorts. Exactly what just happened there. 37 elects to not try to improve on their lap time. So that's going to leave us with just these final couple cars trying to set their laps. Alright, and that is the end of the session. Top 6 all separated by just 0.2 of a second, but then a massive gap down to the cars behind. As we get started here for race 1, of course the time has shifted. Headlights will be mandatory for all drivers on the racetrack. Let me go ahead and make sure that that has been said in the chat. Two minutes remaining here, and while we are waiting, we're going to play a quick commercial. And we will be back on the other side. Those who are subscribed will not be seeing the commercial right now, including Boonatix here, who's in chat. Of course, there's not very many that are here, but I'm wanting to use, and of course those who are watching on YouTube at the VOD won't see this either. But I'm wanting to start while we are live on Twitch to show just commercials during this time, just to give us a little bit of extra support. It doesn't do too much, but it does give us something, and every little bit does help us with running these servers. Because of course, I mean, these servers are not cheap, especially with some of the plans that we have coming up, and so every little bit that we can get does help. And then also it kind of allows for this dead time to not just be dead time, because otherwise we would just be looking at cars sitting still and I'd have dead time to fill and talk about here, and there was nothing to talk about. So being able to run this commercial here during this period of time for those who aren't subscribed, it kind of just allows the stream to flow a little bit better, I feel. We will not show a commercial, obviously, during actual race time at any point. It's just during these moments of nothing else happening. because there's genuinely nothing else happening. Or watching people load their setups, and that's all. And the cars are beginning to roll here from the Nurburgring GT4 Championship Round 3, Race 1, happening here at 8 p.m., just past 8 p.m. here, local time at the Nurburgring. Races will only get darker from here. I do believe that the start time for Race 2 is 11 p.m. Local time at the racetrack, so definitely going to be a fun night race this time around. The racetrack has its dark points. As much as it's a stadium racetrack, and as much as there is always light going on per se, it definitely has its dark points, especially down here through Sector 2 and Sector 3, really mainly Sector 2. It gets really, really dark sometimes going through those Schumacher S's and those couple corners following it. I do not have a track map up. I can actually go find one right quick. Probably be a good idea to be able to all the different corners. T11 and T12, those get really dark at the nighttime portions of this race. So it'll be interesting to see just how those get to go along. We do have the alert box set up now on the Twitch stream. So anytime that someone does subscribe, donate, or anything of that sort, even just following, we will have an alert that pops up. It does play a sound. I'm not really sure how loud the sound comes across on the stream, but it's quite loud for me. And it's quite jarring, so it allows me to notice it whenever it does happen. So, yeah, do be noting that we do have the alert box set up now. As cars are coming through the chicane here one last time, getting ready to go for their greens. In flag racing here, we're just waiting one last corner, and then we're going to wait on those red lights to go out. Good luck to everyone here in the race with getting their car set up and ready to go.
Green light, go, go, go.
And the lights are out, and away we are racing here. Looking possibly 3 wide. Oh, and there's contact there between the P3 and P5 cars. No one gets seriously hurt, though. Great recovery there by both of them. That was a little bit of a close contact there on the rejoin. 3 wide behind. These cars still making a little bit of contact here. They're racing really aggressively. The Aston Martin all over the rear bumper of that Porsche. But fantastic recovery there by Peter Varga and Matt Neal to not wreck that car or wreck these cars here, because that was almost a big moment there at the start of the race. Fortunately, it'll go off as just contact, and Of course, being it's lap 1 could go off as a penalty for one of the two drivers in the post-race review. But definitely race saving in terms of entertainment value for them and possibly even position value. Ooh, picking it up the inside here, Varga on the inside of the BMW, just in front of Marko Kozik. And just a little bit of a look as up front the Salman Saad Aston Martin is just driving away with this one for now. That contact, of course, with the P2 car that was just behind him really helped him get a little bit of space between himself and the cars behind. In the back here, we got some close racing still through the first lap here as they come through T12 onto the back straightaway, getting ready to start Sector 3. This corner, of course, is flat out all the way through here. This is a very, very fast section of the racetrack, and then with this chicane, of course, not the Formula 1 chicane, but the endurance chicane, definitely is a lot faster and a little bit more sketchier with the way that the curbs are, especially in these GT4 cars. You definitely got to be careful up over those bumps going through that corner, as there's a pass done there for Peter Varga in the final corner, getting his way around the BMW. Max Leinart is, he managed to jump his way up in the 3rd position. I do believe that he was towards the tail end of that front group. Either that or Loeffler, who I thought was 3rd place in that group, has fallen down the grid. But we are seeing a lot of good racing here. Everyone's trying to get in line, get a little bit settled down, especially after those first lap kind of confusion incidents there. Definitely was really close calls there on a couple different spots. Looked like they were even 3 wide into turn 1 towards the rear of the field that we didn't quite catch whenever they were spinning. So definitely good to see that no one got into any serious accidents and that everyone's still racing here. Leinart has jumped his way up into P2 here at the front of the grid. KTM showing really good race pace here at night. Either that or the Porsches are just falling off in terms of their pace. Varga is now right up to the rear end of this field, so he's trying to get his way back up to a spot after the first lap, first corner incident. You could see there on the map the gap in which I was referring to there, with how the front 6 or 7 seem to be just kind of on a different pace than the rest of the field, and it's definitely showing you once again here, as there's already appearing to be a 3-second gap between 8th and 9th place on the field. So definitely a gap there in terms of the top and the bottom of our grids for this race. Apologies if my commentary is a bit spotty or if we have quiet moments. I'm of course used to having someone else here to commentate with me, but unfortunately today that appears to be not the case. So at least for race 1 here, I may have some dead points where I'm silent, as we're looking here as Loeffler on the inside of Camprager down into turn 1. I do apologize if I pronounced that wrong, Christian. But he gets the move done up into P3 now for Loeffler. Three Porsches here all racing for this final spot on the podium. Just 5 minutes into this race. 25 minutes, of course, remain. Ooh, a little bit of bumper contact there, just letting him know that he's there. That was a good run there by Christian on the outside, but obviously not going to be enough to get anything done, especially with the bumper tap, to transfer that energy from car to car. There's the positional update. I was waiting for it because the score tower was still showing wrong. But obviously it only updates at the sector times, and so it can take it sometimes a few seconds to update. It would be nice to see it update more often, because of course, like around the racetrack, if you were looking, you can see there's white lines clearly painted across each section of the racetrack, and which shows where passes would be made and timing lines. Like right there, they just crossed over. That's one of the timing lines. I do believe that most tracks have like 13 or 14 of them. Would be nice to be able to see more in the game with the way it registers for overtakes and scoring them. KTM here of Max Leinart appearing to be the fastest car on the racetrack right now, being the only one to run a 206 dead. Everyone else is running 206 threes or higher. With the 46 Porsche, they're falling into the 207 bracket. Slowest of our top 5. Salman here still just rolling along up front. Oh, contact between the Keith Hurst Aston Martin and the Bunatix Camaro. Bad spot to be sitting. Is going to thankfully get a little bit of a gap in the field there to get around. Not quite sure what happened there. Let's see if we can get a backup and replay. Hopefully I can get it. Yep, here they are side by side down into turn 1. A little bit of a tight squeeze there from the Aston, but of course all fair game. Drives it in. A little bit of a defensive maneuver from the Camaro, and contact happened, and around he went. That angle didn't really show it the best as to what happened there. Unfortunate contact though for the Bunatix Camaro and the Keith Hurst Aston Martin. Move them both down the grid there with contact, and of course penalty will ensue in that in the post race. I'll go ahead and take a look up front here. There appears to be a little bit of congestion going through the midfield here. Too much. Still our top 5 is breaking away from the rest of the field as the Marko Kozik BMW has really fallen off the pace here. I'm not sure if that has to do with the contact that happened with the Camaro just one lap ago. The two of them could have been sitting in that gap in between that we now see being vacated from the spin. Peter Varga falling a little bit off the tail here of Christian Kampreger here in the 4th place Porsche. A little bit of a gap between them. Of course, our closest battle on the field at the moment, or on the grid right now, is these two, as they're going to try to work their way up and possibly into a fight for the 2nd position there with the Max Leinart KTM. KTM's definitely a interesting selection of a car to go with here for the GT4. Most people are very polarized with that car as either it's a great selection or a terrible selection. I do believe at a track like this it would not be a fantastic selection. I think that with all the straight line speeds here it wouldn't fare too well, but I mean obviously I am being proven wrong as the car is doing a really good job at maintaining on the straightaways. It seems it's not losing too much time, but it could be that maybe they're not quite getting out all the way through their 6th gear around here, as I do know that in some of the GT3 cars you only hit 5 gears, so could be possible. As the 17 off at the tail end of the grid appear to have a little bit of a spin off on their own, which is going to really drop them off the back of the field there. Take them out of contention for a battle, at least for the time being. Of course, there's no pit stops in this series. It is just 30 minutes of outright racing. Max Leinart now really getting up close to the bumper of the Bowman Sod Aston Martin up front. Looking to try to get that position done. KTM, of course, it is really quick through the corners. It's going to be fast through Sector 1 here. And possibly even Sector 2 for the most part, apart from that final little section. And it'll obviously be fast through Sector 3 with that fast chicane. I do feel like that's something where this car will really excel because it has a lot of stability. So I mean, I can see why this car is fast around here. I just feel like that the long straights would be too much for it, but obviously they're not long enough. You can see there the Aston does bridge a little bit of a gap on a straight like that, but it's clearly not enough, and the time can be made back up under braking because the KTM can brake later. Max trying to push every little bit of this racetrack out right now. Here you see once again the Aston just bridges a little bit of a gap there, but it's obviously not too much. And again, with the speed that KTM can carry through these final sets of corners, I mean it's pretty hard, I imagine, to be able to really maintain or really overtake a car like that, because once you get alongside, they can just outbrake you into the corner. Of course, defending it will be a bit easier because if you have the legs on the straight line, it's going to allow you to be able to get the defensive position. As there was almost a little bit of contact there. Solomon Sod was a bit off of his mark. Side by side, they're going here. Turn 2, down towards turn 3. ATM trying to use up all the green space. Ooh, don't get too racy here. Them racing side by side, though. Let's bring in the Loeffler Porsche in the 3rd position right up into this battle as well. We got a 3-car race here for first. I think Loeffler's going to be more than excited to just sit here and chill behind them and watch them race each other out and then capitalize on it later. No, maybe not, as he looks to the outside of Sod, which is going to help the case of the KTM. But of course the Aston will have the legs down here on the straight. I'm just not sure it's going to be enough. That is job done for Max Leinart into first place. Mega move there in turn 5 and 6 to go get that done. And of course the Porsche kind of helped this case there, not allowing the Aston to get a full run up out of turn 5 and turn 6, which allowed through the turn 7 straightaway there the KTM to get just enough leg to not have a challenge back from Solomon there. Once again, you're starting to see that the gaps of the packs pull out here as Peter Vargas found his way into the middle of a pack and appears a little bit slow off the pace here. Maybe he went off track for just a second, but you can see we have this pack up front, then you have the Varga, then you got the pack, the second series of packs, and then you got the 3rd series of cars along the racetrack there. And so there's definitely a little bit of a gap right now in the way that this race is going on, but still a very entertaining race, and always happy to have cars near each other on the racetrack, especially whenever they're racing for first. 4 cars still in contention for this one with no questions asked. All of these cars are within a blanket of each other, just 2 seconds separate first to 4th. I'm going to do a little bit of catching up on the race control, and I will check back with the race here in just a moment. Alright, and I am back. Apologies for that mute point there. It looks like we have a battle going on towards the rear here between the Camaro. Oh, almost contact there as the Maserati appeared to lock up. Of course, the Maserati has no ABS or traction control in that car. So definitely a little bit of a handful to drive, especially with the way that the ACC physics tend to work when it comes to lockups. They're kind of instant and spontaneous. You really don't have any sort of expectation of them. They just kind of happen. So definitely a tricky car to drive there, that Maserati, and a bold move to go and swap over to it. Still up front, this battle for the lead looking quite fantastic here, as the Aston Martin has not let the KTM get away, but of course it's going to be hard to overtake that KTM, as I mentioned before. I mean, the car is going to be so good under the braking, it's going to be so stable on the corner exit that the mistakes are going to be very limited, and you really can't get a full pass going down the straightaways, at least at this racetrack, and so it's going to be very, very hard for that car to be overtaken, because it's going to have all the marks that you need to have in order to defend consistently. I mean, it'll be a challenge to defend in that car, but it can do it consistently and over and over and over. And so definitely it has what you're looking out for in a car for leading a race, I guess you could say. As the battle for the 6th position looks to be pretty close as well. Towards the back, the Matt Neal Aston Martin, who of course got caught up in that lap 1, turn 1 incident with the Peter Varga Porsche, has fallen his way down to 7th, but is trying to challenge his way back up to 6th right now. This was our pole sitter, or no, he did not get on pole. He was the provisional pole sitter for a little bit in qualifying, but he did not ultimately get on pole. Saad managed to jump his way up there. Really close is Loeffler here, looking at 2nd position, right up to the bumper of that Salman Saad Aston. Just a little bit in between these two cars here. They're trying every little thing that they can to get up and push towards the KTM in front. Last time around, the Porsche was 0.3 of a second faster than the Aston, as well as it was 0.2 of a second faster than the KTM. So fastest car on the racetrack is this Porsche we're riding on board with right now, running a 2:05.6 last time around. Hopefully, for his sake, he can get by this Aston Martin relatively quickly. Of course, the Aston got really good legs down the straightaway, so it's also going to make it hard to pass in its own right. As the KTM is quick through the corners and braking, the Aston is quick down the straights and on corner exit, and so that makes it hard to really set up a pass against that car, whereas the KTM, it's hard to finish a pass, and the Aston, it's hard to set it up in the first place. As the Porsche looking for a little bit of a cutback at turn 1, not quite going to get it done. Here you go, maybe a send up the inside to turn 3. He's definitely got Salman off the line. Round the outside goes the Porsche, getting it done in turn 4. Mega move there, a little bit of a commitment lunge there. Lots of trust in the other car to not just cut in on you whenever you're coming from that type of angle into a corner like turn 3 at Nurburgring is. Where it's already kind of a tricky braking zone in of itself, and you're doing it where you're coming in at a 90+ degree angle to the apex of the corner, and so definitely was a tricky and risky move, but a good one nonetheless. Going to put him up to P2, and now he's able to go and try to challenge for that 1st position. Salman here's not letting the Porsche go here of Michael Loeffler. He's still going to be racing really hard with just 7 minutes remaining in this race. Not sure if the Michael Loeffler Porsche here has just enough to go and try to get it done on Max Leinart. I don't know if there's going to be enough there to be able to go run him down. As you can see, the Leinart last time around ran a 2:05.8, and Loeffler ran a 2:06. Campreger running a 2:06.1. My broadcast app is definitely not displaying fully correct times, because it is showing to me that 46 Porsche was the fastest car on track last time around, but game is saying otherwise. Once again, Varga just kind of sitting on an island of his own, 9 seconds in front, 9 seconds in the back, just chilling on his markers. We got look like we might have lap traffic just up the road here. The 17 Porsche here of Daniel Zlatnik having himself a little bit of a struggle fest around the Nurburgring GP circuit here, but with lap traffic just up the road, 5 minutes remaining, we could see a couple of close incidents depending on how Zlatnik elects to take the leaders catching up to the back of him, and depending on how aggressive Leinart is on trying to get by. With the KTM having that aggressive braking and stability through the corner, but not the straight line speed, it could make it a little bit difficult to try to get by the lap traffic. Trying to see if there's any sort of developments happening towards the back of the field, but it seems like everyone's kind of got their space out behind. But of course, the top four still within just breathing range of each other. Fortunately, this is a digital race and not a real race, so there's no risk of spreading a virus with how close these cars are right now. Once again, Leinart is reeling in on the Zlatnik Porsche just up the road. Gonna be getting really close here within the next half of a lap on that car, and we definitely could see that play a hand in who finishes where, with just 3.5 minutes remaining here in race 1 from the Nurburgring for round 3 of the GT4 Championship in GRG. See the endurance lights there on the inside of the KTM lighting up that cockpit, letting him know where all of his buttons are. See the space-like looking cockpit here of the KTM. Of course, with its ultra-wide windshield, definitely allowing it to have massive vision. And Zlatnik goes a little bit off there. Leinart going to be looking toward the inside, going to get that position done nice and cleanly, fortunately for him. A little bit of compromise exit there for Loeffler off of the final corner. That's going to give a little bit more space to Leinart up front. And in that process, Saad dropped his way down to 4th. So now it is a Porsche 2 and 3 here in the top 3. They try to squeeze their way by through turn 1 around Zlatnik, managing to get both of them done in the same corner. Saad with a really aggressive late move, but a good one nonetheless. Get his way through there and not let a car get in between him and Christian here. Just 2 minutes remain from the Nurburgring. Looks like towards the rear we have the 22 McLaren there was trying to make a charge on the Ramiro Perez Alpine, or perhaps the Alpine was making its charge on the Maserati. Missed that move here with just a minute remaining. We are going to see one more lap here after this. This is not the final lap of the race. We're going to see one more. The gap is closing up front here. Loffer really trying to use every little bit of his car at the final minute of this race. One more lap once they come around. And try to get every little bit of this race car to go up after that KTM as he shoots it really wide there in the final corner, trying to go for every little bit of a run on the exit. Maybe looking for a little bit of a lunge down to turn one. It looks like it's going to be a little bit too far back. On the other hand, though, the Salman Saad Aston is not too far back for a lunge. He's only about 2 car lengths behind. He could try it. Here he goes, maybe looking. Nope, he's electing to stay in line. I think a wise maneuver there, because he was quite far back by the time they got to the braking point of the corner. Michael Loeffler now just half a second behind. These two cars are still going to be racing it out. Nothing is decided. Just a couple car lengths here between first and second and third and fourth. Can't ask for a much better race than this. We'll try to go to a helicam, see if maybe this shows both battles at once. It does not appear to. We're going to try to tune in on this one and just look up the field and see if there's anything happening for first. Time has expired here from the Nurburgring. We are on the final lap of this race. Oh, Salman with the major maneuver there under the braking, trying to go to the outside possibly. It was a risky move, but I don't disagree with it. Didn't have too much time left to be able to make a move. Really can't make anything up through the Schumacher S's here. And maybe really expected the Porsche to be much faster through there, and felt that was one of his last chances to be close. To make a lunge was there at the hairpin. Salman's going to be trying everything he can up front. Zlatnik just car lengths behind. He's going to be filling up the mirror of that KTM. Trying everything he can to get his way through here. Late braking maneuver down into the chicane. Coming up out towards the final corner. One last maneuver, not quite going to get it done. What about Saad here going into the final corner? He managed to, it looks like he made a little bit of a mistake there going through the final chicane. Matt Leinart going to take the win there in the KTM. Fantastic racing from these guys here in race one. Top four all separated by nothing. Nothing was decided up until the last corner. Can't ask for much more out of racing. Of course, we still have one more race. This is just the first half. This was the first 30-minute race. Of course, we have another race coming up that is going to be 40 minutes long. So this is just race one. Fantastic racing though from these guys. Max Leinart with an amazing win in race one.
Green light. Go, go, go.
we now have a 5-minute free practice here, just for everyone to kind of go and get their bearings, go and take their bathroom breaks, and get themselves under situation. So I'm gonna also, as I smack the mic, I apologize. I'm gonna also go and take that same liberty and chance to go and catch my breath and get ready for this next 40-minute race. After that 30 minutes of exciting racing, I need a breath, and yeah, we'll be back for the second 10-minute qualifying session and prep for race 2 in just 4 minutes time. Alrighty, here we are. The cars are rolling, getting ready for round 2, or race 2 and round 3 from the Nurburgring of the GT4 Championship for GRG eSports. Your pole sitter, Loeffler, he finished P2 last time around, while Max Leinart there in P2 was the one who won the race. Race 1 there just moments ago. After a fantastic duel between the two of them, they managed to come home here in 1 and 2 with the KTM getting the best of the Porsche, but here in qualifying the Porsche has the best of the KTM. In third place you got Peter Varga, who unfortunately got into an incident early on in the race. It just fell off and didn't have the pace later on to stay with the fight of the top 4. Salman Saad, who ended up coming home in the 4th position, in a battle here with the 46 of Christian Kaprager. These two, of course, just like the first and second cars, are swapped from where they finished last time around, with Christian getting the better of Salman in the race last time around. Matt Neal, who was also involved in that early incident on lap 1 of race 1, he will be qualifying in the 6th position with a little bit of separation between him and Peter Varga. Hope that we don't see any contact between the two of them this time around. Keith Hurst, who of course had contact with the Bunatics Camaro last time around. The two of them are going to be really close to each other here on the start. Let's hope for a clean start and no contact between the two of them here this time around. Marko Kozik, he, as far as I believe, managed to finish in the 6th position last time around and work his way up the grid. After the incidents from everyone else, he was able to capitalize and put himself in a good spot to finish. Bottom of the grid, they all had really good fights, but all managed to be too separated by the end of it. They finished right about where they're qualifying this time around. It's going to be interesting to see how this battle up at the front of the field plays out. I would say that anyone has a chance to win this one. Top 6, they all definitely show different pace compared to the rest of the field. They are on another level, and so we'll be interested to see just how much they're able to get themselves spaced out this time around and break out with a gap. As in race 1, we saw a massive gap between the top 6 and the rest of the field, which ultimately became just the top 4 by the end of that race due to the incidents that happened between Peter Varga and Matt Neal here.
Green light. Go, go, go.
And the lights are out. We are green underway here from race 2 at the Nurburgring. Already looking possibly 3 wide here, going down into turn 1. As you see in the back of the field, they're also looking 3 wide. Everyone trying to keep it clean as they come on through. 3 wide on the exit and two lanes, 3 wide there on the exit of turn 1. Turn 1 at Nurburgring always provides some really entertaining racing, especially at the start of these races, just due to the way that of its nature. It's downhill, wide, and a hairpin. It always makes for some really entertaining racing off the start of these races. As Leinart has gotten into line here in P2, our top 5 has gone unchanged, I do believe, from the qualifying of the start of the race. No, actually, we saw a swap here between the Aston and the Porsche here, as the Aston dropped its way down into the 5th position for Salman Saad. A lot cleaner this time around versus race 1. Everyone trying to keep their nose in check. Keith Hurst managing to lose a couple positions there off the start, dropping from 7th down to 9th. Up front still remains Michael Loeffler here, who's getting off to a pretty clean start. No contact, no incidents, and just trying to pull out a little bit of a gap over the Max Leinart KTM here. 40 minutes long is this race. Everyone knows that. After the last race where they all had incidents early on, they're ready to put their head down and just try to put in 40 minutes here in the darkness of the Nurburgring. I mean, this track is no slouch with how dark it gets around here. They definitely tried to capture the essence of the full Nordschleife in the GP circuit here in terms of just how dark it can get. They definitely did that. As we'll go to an onboard here just to try to show just how dark it is. I mean, you can see down the front straightaway here, there's obviously lights to your left and right, and there's cars in front and behind here off the start of this race, so nothing too special in terms of how dark it gets. Down in the turn 1, there's obviously going to be lighting as well, shining onto the apex. Ooh, right up to the bumper goes the KTM as it's peeking itself to the left here down into turn 2. Loeffler going way wide. That's going to bring Leinart right on through into P1. Opportune move there by the mistake from the Porsche in the lead. That's going to put the KTM in front. And as we saw last time, once the KTM got to the front, it never looked back. The car was very, very hard to see others overtake. And once it got its spot, it kept it. Down the field, we're still remaining green and clean. Everyone just kind of getting single file here, trying to put in, once again, 40 minutes of just clean racing. That is the ideal way to see it here. Thank you to everyone who's hanging out in the Twitch stream. I know there's a couple of you there. Obviously, not everyone can hang out, and thank you to everyone who's watching this as a VOD on the YouTube channel. It's much appreciated, obviously. There was a little bit of a moment there from the Loeffler Porsche up off of the hairpin. Comes Christian in the 46 Porsche, trying to look his way around outside of Peter Varga there in the 5. Couldn't quite get it done there into the chicane. And now that's going to make a little bit of an opportune move here for Salmon, possibly, in the Aston. Going to try to peek his way around. A couple cars running really wide there up out of the turn 4 there on the stadium section campus area there. Lunatics Camaro here, who obviously got an unfortunate spin last time around in turn 2, trying to keep his way up here with his front pack at the moment. No one's really breaking out up front. Everyone kind of keeping this in line. Of course, Max Leinart, once again, as soon as he got to the lead, he's going to take it and run. He's got a 1.5 second lead up front, the largest gap on the racetrack. Stuck his nose in clean air, and he's not trying to give it up at any moment. to the inside here. Christian up the inside of Peter Varga. A little bit of contact, just a little door check there. Rubbin's racing, of course, but that was a little bit dirty there, possibly trying to squeeze out Peter off the racetrack. Getting the move done, though, goes Christian. Four-car train here looking. Two Astons in the back, two Porsches leading. The Loeffler Porsche's managing to reel back in up on Max Liner up towards the lead. Trying to get that one by as there go the two Aston Martins side by side. Matt Neal trying to get everything he can here around Salmon, who was leading in the last race and of course our pole setter last time around during the daylight. Here at night, the Aston Martin seems to just fallen off a little bit there for Salmon. The 198 car currently resides in 5th, where he qualified. Ooh, not quite any move there. Getting quite close though. Could have seen maybe a run down the straightaway here. We're going to look for a move. Salmon's also got a run though on the Porsche in front, so we can maybe be looking at a double move here. Both of them looking to try to pass each other. Not quite there. Under braking maybe in towards the final corner here at turn 17. Salmon mounting those curbs. Trying to use up every bit of the racetrack. Quite going to get close enough though for an overtake. Maybe now looking at a good run down in towards turn 1. Quite going to get anything done there, but quite close he was. Someone look a little bit impatient here following this Porsche. Seems to want that spot, and he wants it bad. But that could also open up the door for Matt Neal to try to sneak his way by and get up into that top 5. Gap at the front now, still just half of a second. No one's really able to pull away, but also no one's really... Ooh, Salmon, that was an interesting move there to really hurt only him, because you were not going to try to make an overtake there going into the Schumacher S's, surely. But he also put himself in a compromised line, which is going to hurt him going through these next few corners. It's going to bring Matt Neal up to his bumper here. Matt Neal looking for a wide line, going to try to get a run going down towards the final, or towards the chicane in the final corner here. We're going to go for an onboard on the Aston Martin here. We're going to try to follow him up into the chicane and into the final corner here. See what this track looks like out here. You see it is just blinding darkness beyond the shine of these headlights from this Aston Martin. Just nothing out there. You come up out of this final corner and then you just see all the lights of the stadium section here. Up front, the gap is just a car length there. It looked like as if Loeffler was maybe looking to make a little bit of a send and shot wide, going through turn 3 and 4. Salmon also going for a different line as the Peter Varga Porsche went wide at turn 3. Ooh, man. Really tight racing here between these three for 4th, 5th, and the 6th position. A little tire in the grass there from Peter Varga, throwing up the smoke or the dirt, as you can see there. Looking around the outside, Matt Neal, ooh, into the gravel trap. That's going to really suck him out of that battle just a little bit here, at least for the next lap or so. Possibly pull him back into the mouths of that Camaro. Shark teeth there, looking to attack just back behind. Going to really try to be aggressive here. Monster Energy Aston Martin just falling off there as they dip their tires into the sand trap. Salmon's got to be really working this wheel on the inside of his Aston Martin with how hard he's pushing right now, trying to find his way by. Something about onboards at night that are just very, very satisfying to sit here and watch. And with the way that this game of ACC looks and the night lighting, it does do it very, very well, and it looks very good. Ooh, and Salmon wide into the sand trap there. That's gonna really, really slow him down here on the straight, and you gotta think that if Matt Neal didn't clip the sand trap himself down at the hairpin, he could have a shot at making it overtake there. Our leader's getting really, really close here. Porsche with its endurance lighting up its dashboard as best as it can. Trying to run its way down on this KTM. Again, as we've proven in the last race, that KTM is just so hard to overtake because it has the drive up off the corner that it needs to just bridge just enough of a gap to make it where by the end of the straightaway you really aren't going to get anything done in terms of overtakes. You just don't have the room. Ooh, a little bit into the grass there, almost a compromised braking zone there for Max Leinart. Obviously both these guys are going to be pushing it to their absolute limits here, trying to get everything out of this car. Because, I mean, obviously they both want this win. I mean, with 25 minutes remaining, I mean, the clock is ticking. And for every bit you can get out in front, the better, especially because you have this battle of cars back behind you who aren't afraid to pounce on your first mistake. Ooh, here they go. Waffle around the outside of Leinart. That's the move that he needed to make right there, as he had the run down on. Ooh, a little bit of a dirty there, as they just lightly touch each other, but no harm, no foul there between the two. Almost contact back here between the fourth and fifth place cars. They're fighting for. Apologize for my silence. There's a lot going on here. Not feeling all here right now. I'm trying to be able to focus and keep up with everyone. Ooh, the 327 up front appearing to have a lunge here up the inside of the chicane on Max Leinart. That's another move that he's got to make. Let's see if he can get it done. Ooh, just barely slides in front of that KTM. Wow, mega move there from Loeffler just to get by Leinart in the KTM. That was a move that needed to be done, and he did it flawlessly. Perfect place to get it done as well. At the end of the straight, into a chicane, compromise the entrance for the KTM that allows it to not get as good of an exit, which then hurts it for the next couple of corners as well. Take advantage of what the KTM's advantages are, try to take them away, take advantage of knowing what its advantages are. KTM going to be trying to make a lunge back through Sector 1 or Sector 2 here though. Quite a lunge there. KTM get a move done anytime soon to try to get itself back up in front of this Porsche. Again, the Porsche's got the legs at the straightaway, as it just proved with that overtake, and that's also going to make it hard to overtake for the KTM, who lacks the legs at the straightaway. And mistakes like that there of just clipping the dirt just that little bit is not going to help at all for Max Leinart in the KTM. Dahlman's still trying to find his way around Peter Varga here. He's been trying for 20 minutes, and he's got 20 minutes left to go do it again. Ooh, using up all the racetrack into the dirt. Great job managing to keep a hold of that and get back on the racetrack without really losing time there. Keith Hurst has retired his way to the pits with the 24 car, it appears.
We're at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
Definitely your closest battle on the racetrack right now between the Salman Saad Aston Martin and the Peter Varga Porsche, and of course the Matt Neal Aston is just tailing right in the back. These two cars are just they're bumper to bumper, exactly the same pace all the way around this racetrack. No one really got an advantage anywhere. At any point where the Aston gains a little bit on entry, the Porsche gets on exit though, and really making this a hard overtake to get done here for the Salman Saad Aston Martin in the 198. Ooh, looking for a lunge there at turn 1. That's going to be opportune maybe for Matt Neal. Not quite. These cars, they keep on getting chances at lunges, but just cannot complete them. make it for really, really fun racing to watch, but obviously not very productive racing on their end of the belt, because with every fight lunge that they make, Christian in the 46 gets to just drive away that little bit more and put himself on that island in third place. Almost with a bumper there with Salman on Varga. Looking to the right side here, coming back across just prior to the braking zone there. Varga with a good cutoff on the defensive measure there, hunting Saad for going for a late break. That was almost a spin there. Compromise exit here for Varga is going to allow Saad around the outside, but that's also going to compromise Saad going down towards turn 3. Neil just not close enough to make a move. These three cars are racing so hard. This is so much fun to watch. Trying to enjoy it while also being able to commentate on it and be able to keep myself awake enough to make full sentences speak. Bumper to bumper these three cars are. 15 minutes to go, actually just under 16 minutes to go. Ooh, a little bit of a bumper rub right there between Matt Neal and Salman. You could see the wheel just jolting left to right there for the Aston Martin. Oh, massive lunge there from Matt Neal, who runs into the back of Peter Varga just a little bit there, moving him out of line. Massive lunge from Neal to get by Saad, putting himself up into that 5th position now. And that's going to really be an interesting one to look back on with how he made that move happen. Saad comes back on the lunge. He's going to let Saad possibly go back through here. But then Saad goes off, and that's going to allow Neal right back through into P5. And that whole sequence of events has now allowed Peter Varga to bridge himself a little bit of a gap in breathing room to the cars behind him for the first time in this race. Now these Astons are going to have to race each other really hard here. Obviously they just showed right there they're not afraid to leave anything on the table. Even lunges and some contact is available for them in their racing. So you can see how this is going to go as Christian has managed to run his way down just a little bit towards the rear of Max Leinart. Not quite there yet, but he is closing the gap for the lead. 14 minutes to go here in the Nurburgring. Dahlman trying everything he can here to get back past Neil, which again is allowing Varga to just kind of bridge himself out a good gap here. And these three fighting really gave a huge gap to the top three here, as Christian has now bridged an 8-second gap over Peter Varga. Once again, Varga just not able to keep the pace of the top drivers at the track at the time. And I mean, obviously, as we saw in race, Saad going way wide there. But as we saw in race 1, Saad was able to keep up with them, but obviously here getting into the traffic and have to deal with battles, he's lost a lot of time. And again, Christian down to just 1.2 seconds now on Max Leinart, so he has a chance to go try to jump for P2 here with just 10 minutes remaining on the Nurburgring. Trying to keep focus on this shot here, as these two cars have just been racing so hard and so aggressively. But definitely and keeping an eye on that fight up for the lead at the moment. Once that gets, if that gets a bit closer, we're gonna cut over to that and watch that for the remainder of the race, because it's there. Those three cars all have a chance at the lead. They're all just within 2 seconds of each other right now. But these two cars are just far too entertaining to not watch. But contact, as we've seen, has been a fantastic job by these drivers to not cause a proper incident and just have door rubs and a couple of bumper contacts. I mean, hard racing is all fine and dandy here with GRG eSports. We are all for it. We all want to see it. And we don't want to see penalties and stuff handed out for hard racing. Dahlman going all the way through the sand trap there. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Really going to fall off the back there of that Matt Neil Aston. Going to bring Kozik into this fight as well, possibly for the 5th position or 4th position. We're going to go ahead and we're going to jump up to this top 3 here, who all are just within a blanket shade of each other, trying to fight for this lead. Any one of these cars can win this race. The Porsche has a bit more straight line speed, but obviously the KTM is much better through the corners and braking. Really making for a competitive race here, but on two different fronts. These cars are so different from each other, but also identical at the same time. This is what makes GT racing so great and so fun to watch. It's just the sheer difference of cars and types of racing you can see all within one singular race. There's 6 minutes remain here at Nurburgring. 1.5 seconds the gap here for the lead, but obviously just car lengths here. Gap between second and third. Battle once again for fourth, heating its way back up. These three cars have all found themselves in the same spot once again. Cannot seem to get away from each other, no matter how hard they try. Matt Neal goes wide there up out of the hairpin. Dawn looking a little bit to the outside there of the Schumacher S. Proven that he's not afraid to send it anywhere on the racetrack. He's tried that move quite a few times during this race. Around the outside and inside of the Schumacher S. So he's definitely not afraid to make any move that he's got to go try to get that position. Up right now for second position we have the 37 and the 46 battling. 37 still remaining on the defensive side of things and leading. 46 may get a good run here very soon to go try and take that second position. Actually, here he is now. He's getting it done. Side by side they are. The KTM with a run up out of the final corner. A little bit of a check of the fenders there. But the Porsche, of course, got the legs on the straight. Going to pull it out and get the second position. Back under braking. Perhaps the KTM going to try it again. Not quite going to get it done. Going to be trying to send everything he's got here to go try to get that second position back. This battle, of course, going to be helping out Loeffler up front. Looking to pull out with that win. He could not get last time around. It was just oh so evasive. Back here you got Varga and Saad, or no, sorry, not Varga, Neal and Saad racing each other door to door once again. The Aston Martins, just super hard aggressive racing by these two here, trying to get that top 5 position, final slot on the top 5. And again, back up the 46 is around contact with the KTM. Whoa! Hold on, we gotta back this one up and go get a replay of what just happened here. Contact between the 46 and the 37 in their battle for second place. Down at turn, I believe that is turn 6. KTM just with a massive lunge going down into turn 6, and the Porsche just not with a great run through the middle. Contact between the two, and that's gonna be massive in terms of the final standings of this race, because with that has now allowed Peter Varga, Matt Neal, and Salman Saad to just wheel their way right back up to this battle, and we could possibly see a fight for the podium here with 2 minutes to go. A 5-horse race for the podium and ensuing penalties possibly coming in here for the Max Leinart KTM with that incident. There would be massive implications after the fantastic race 1 that Leinart did have, having a penalty like this, which could drop him down to 7th or even 8th place on the grid. Massive, massive penalty there that could possibly come in, depending on how large that race control decides it to be. Could really, really hurt what would have been a fantastic point sweeping weekend here from the Nurburgring. Of course, that incident allows Matt Loeffler to basically secure his win here with just a minute and a half remaining. This would be the final lap of the race for Matt Loeffler. Michael Loeffler up front. Sorry. Matt Neal is the Matt in the race that is currently going on. And Matt Leinart, of course. Max Leinart. There's so many M's and there's so much going on, and I'm so confused. There's so many good fights on this racetrack right now. and I am not awake enough for anything. Yep, there's Marco as well. There's so many M's. I need to get more original with naming your kids. No. As it appears as if Christian here is going to be able to come home with his second place. Max going to try to come home with the third. But this fight for fourth is not settled yet between Peter Varga and Matt Neal. Matt's going to get a good run here. Heading down the final straightaway. Here we are getting ready to take the checkered flag. The leader slowing down possibly off the final corner. Yes, he is. Checkered flag for Michael Loeffler, bringing home the win here in race 2. Matt Neal going to have to make a massive lunge down here in the final corner to try to get anything. No, he is not going to get it done. That's going to bring home second for Shaw, a unofficial third for Max Leinart, with fourth and fifth for Peter Varga and Matt Neal. Stallman entering the pit lane on the final lap, who got a 30-second penalty to end the race. What happened here to get a 30-second penalty in the race? A drive-through penalty for corner cutting in the last corner for Stallman. That is huge. Huge for the 198 Aston Martin. And that could bump Bunatics up a couple positions here. Once again, depending on the penalty that's resolved for Max Leinart. And the Maserati, the final car to cross the line. The race is now over. Your winner, Michael Loeffler, the 327 Porsche. Fantastic race there by him. Managed to put that together because not only did he got passed by the KTM, but he managed to repass the KTM back there in a very aggressive maneuver through the chicane. Making a fantastic pass to go and get that lead, and obviously became the pass for the win. So definitely well-deserved win there for Michael Loeffler in race 2. Max Leinart, of course, with a fantastic race 1 victory. And that is going to resolve it here for round 3, the GT4 Championship, happening Saturdays at 1600 UTC, as 4 p.m. UTC, 11 a.m. Standard Time in the United States. Of course, these races would not be possible if it was not for our lovely Patreons and Twitch supporters. Every single one of your donations or subscriptions or Patreon supports, every single one of those goes directly into funding our servers to try to keep GRG being put on fantastic racing week in and week out, just like what you guys witnessed here today. So thank you for everyone tuning in and hanging out. As the Nightbot just said here on the Twitch chat, be sure to go to our website, www.grgesports.com, for more details to be able to join. And catch you all later. We're going to go ahead and host our eSport team, who are currently running their stints in a 12-hour endurance race for charity in ACC. We're going to go say hello over there to Yannick. We will catch you